In today's video, I'm going to share with you foods that have been proven by research to either prevent or reduce the symptoms of depression and also increase productivity levels. You know, I talked about that in another video here if you want to learn more about how to be naturally productive. Now, there has been a ton of research on food and the association with mood and things like depression and anxiety and OCD, and a lot of it actually is in this book here by Dr. Nadeau. So if you want to geek out and actually read more in depth about some of the research that she's putting into this book, then check it out. The link is in the description. So first, let's do a kindergarten version of the gut and brain connection. So your gut and your brain, they're like homies, they're like BFFs. Now we have what's called the vagus nerve. It originates in the brainstem and travels all the way down to the gut, connecting the gut to the central nervous system. When the vagus nerve reaches the gut, it untangles itself to form like little threads that wrap around the entire gut, kind of like a knit sweater. Now keep in mind, since the vagus nerve stems from the brain and goes down to the gut, this nerve is actually penetrating on the wall of your gut. So this is why it plays an essential role in the digestion of food. But the vagus's key function is to make sure that nerve cells can travel back and forth from the gut to the brain. The brain can be like, oh, what's going on down there? And the gut's like, no, here's what's going on. And the brain's like, okay, got it. So I want you to think of an aspirin. You have, let's say, a headache. You're gonna take that aspirin, you're gonna swallow it. It's gonna digest in the system. That vagus nerve is communicating with your brain like, hey, here's what's going on, here's the chemicals going on here, and the brain's like, okay, got it. And then you have the effects of that aspirin, which is probably to reduce that headache or relieve you from cramps. And so basically that's the same idea when you eat food. All this research shows that, hey, when you eat this type of food or you put these types of nutrients in your body, here is the effects of this food on your brain, on your body. So with that being said, let's talk about things that we can eat for your depression or to prevent depression and increase productivity instead of eating foods that work against you. Foods that are actually shown to increase the chances of depression or prolong depressive symptoms. First, we have omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids aid in making the hormones that you need to regulate blood clotting, contractions, and relaxation of the artery walls and inflammation. Now, our body doesn't produce this on its own, which is why we need help. And foods that are high in fatty acids does just that. So anyways, we can promote brain health by reducing inflammatory markers and protecting our little neurons from excessive inflammation. So think of your cell phone, you know, you put the case on it, I have like the screen, and because I have these protective factors over it, been in relatively good condition. But if I didn't have these protective factors and I dropped my cell phone, the screen probably would have cracked already. So that's kind of the way I like to see omega-3s, and in addition to some of the other foods that I'm going to be sharing with you. So according to Dr. Nadeau, the best sources for omega-3s are salmon, mackerel, tuna, herring, and sardines. Now, fish with lower content like bass, tilapia, cod, and shellfish, they don't have as much omega-3 fatty acids, but they still have more than other types of foods. You can also get your omega-3s in by eating more grass-fed beef and using canola oil. So next we can take a look at foods that are rich in healthy vitamins. So one of the most helpful vitamins in preventing and easing depression is folate. So you're looking at vitamin B9, vitamin B12. Folate deficiency can contribute to a loss of brain cells in the hippocampus. And the loss of those cells in the hippocampus is associated with depression. So let's look at some helpful foods. Foods with these types of vitamins include legumes, citrus fruits, bananas, avocado, leafy greens, things like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, nuts and seeds, fish, and shellfish. Then we have vitamin A. Supports brain function such as the growth and adaptation of our neurons. This includes sweet potato, carrot, spinach, and black-eyed peas. Then we have vitamin C, the regulation of neurotransmitter synthesis. Foods to eat high in vitamin C look like oranges, cantaloupe, strawberries, cauliflower, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. Next, we have iron and other helpful minerals. So these help to make up like the protective covering of the neurons. Helps control the synthesis of chemicals and the chemical pathways involved in mood. So we're looking at lean red meat, shellfish, legumes, pumpkin seeds, broccoli, dark chocolate, and if it's sweet dark chocolate, it is in moderation. Magnesium has also been shown to be helpful in the function of our brain. For magnesium myself, I just use a supplement. I use 400 milligrams of magnesium, and I wouldn't suggest a certain amount for anybody who's watching, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a registered dietitian, but what I would suggest before you start any significant change in your diet or before you want to start taking any minerals or vitamins is meeting with your primary care physician just to make sure that everything is a-okay. So I hope you enjoyed this video and see you on the next post.